As a journalist, my smartphone is an invaluable part of my life. I write on it, shoot with it, I use it for research, and sometimes I even make a phone call. Now, because this device is so important, I've allowed myself to spend a silly amount of money on it. How much? Well, it costs more than this moped you see here, and that bike. In fact, it costs more than both these machines combined. The TVS XL 100 costs less than rupees 30,000, and the Bajaj CT 100 is just a few thousands more. But these amazing price points won't be around for very long, because come April 1, 2020, and the BS6 norms will kick in, which will make both these machines a fair bit more expensive. So that's why we've decided that we've got to do something to celebrate these two very special machines. And what better way to celebrate some motorcycles than to take them for a nice long ride? The next morning, Vishal and I caught up outside Mumbai at the crack of dawn with a journey of about 100 kilometers ahead of us. With the first of many kickstarts for the day, we headed in the direction of the coastal town of Dahanu and began our journey in the quest of some fun. A few kilometers in, and many of the apprehensions we had started to slip away. The TVS may be extremely small, but its 16-inch wheels provide a decent level of stability, while the Bajaj was even more comfortable. The XL's tiny fuel tank held more than enough petrol for our journey ahead, but the Bajaj's fuel tank was big enough for us to do 5 times the distance if we wanted. A conventional design also meant that Vishal could mount his overnight bag on the Bajaj's fuel tank, whereas the only secure place for my bag was on my back. Nevertheless, the open highway stretch was surprisingly pleasant, and since the TVS has no foot controls, I could even stretch out like some of the Harley riders like to do. After a few more kilometers of very relaxed cruising, we finally turned off onto some pretty interior roads, and it wasn't long before we pulled into Dahanu. Over a small break to freshen up, we discussed how both bikes impressed far more than their spec sheets had us expect, especially the TVS. With less than 4.5 horsepower, the XL is the least powerful petrol-powered vehicle either of us had ever experienced, and yet it wasn't so bad out on the open road. The TVS could hold 60 km per hour fairly easily, and even though it looks comically small under a tall rider, the seating position is actually very spacious. What we both agreed on though was that the TVS could definitely use some more stopping power, and right now it's a matter of grabbing a handful and hoping for the best. No such problems with the Bajaj though. It also uses drum brakes, but these get the job done as well as you'd expect. We were also really impressed with the Bajaj's engine, particularly how smooth and refined it was. The CT100 could easily sit at 70 km per hour all day long, and its top speed of 90 kph was much higher than the TVS could manage. Where we both struggled was remembering the Bajaj's weird all-down shift pattern for its 4-speed gearbox, and this is where the TVS made life so much easier. On the XL, you simply twist and go, just like with any automatic scooter. However, the XL doesn't use a conventional CVT gearbox, and instead, it gets a simpler centrifugal clutch and a single-speed transmission. While the acceleration is definitely a little lazy below 20 kph, the XL feels quite energetic between 30 and 50 km per hour. We're also sure that one of the big contributing factors to what makes the TVS XL so much fun to ride is that it weighs just 80 kilos. But while we were certainly out having a good time, let's not forget that both these vehicles are intended for a very different application. And that's part of the reason why I've brought us here to Dahanu. I've got a little something fun in store for us. You may know of Dahanu as a small coastal town, but this place is equally famous for being home to numerous Chiku farms. We've come to one of these fruit farms today, and now we're going to put these machines to work. Okay Vishal, this is our challenge for the day. We're at a Chiku farm right now. Those are many sacks of Chikus. Our job is to get them from this side of the farm all the way to the other end at an auction house. The idea is very simple, whoever carries more Chikus wins. Now to give you an idea of how much these weigh, we've got 35 kilos of weights on that end. That's about 35 kilos in 2 sacks. Should we get to it?
Yeah.
Okay, Vishal, as long as I can keep these on the bike, I don't think you stand a chance. Okay, let's go. Steady. This is dicey. The journey was rocky, slushy, a little treacherous, and a whole lot of fun. After 15 minutes of bouncing and sliding around on our heavily loaded bikes, we finally made it to the auction center with some potentially damaged fruits, but with helmets full of laughter nonetheless.
Okay, Vishal, I'm going to teach you a simple math lesson now. 4 is better than 3. I win. Although, come on, let's be fair. We knew the XL could carry more weight than the other bike. But I'm still really impressed with what that engine could do.
I know. So with 4 horsepower, the fact that it can carry your 6'2" frame and over 70 kilos in Chiku's, that's impressive.
That is a lot, and it just took us along the way. I think the biggest problem was keeping the Chikus on the bike, but we managed to get here in one piece. We've had a lot of fun. We are in a coastal town though. The sun is coming down. Let's go end the day in some style on the beach.
All right, let's go.
Let's do it.
So with the sun setting on such an incredibly entertaining day, we headed to the beach to collect our thoughts on what these two machines represent.
You know, we have a lot of fun days on this job, but I think today is a day we're both going to remember for a really long time. And it just goes to prove what we keep saying, that you don't need a big, fancy, expensive bike to have fun on two wheels. But let's not forget the reason why we're here today. These machines are all about the affordable price point. This is effectively the most affordable petrol-powered two-wheeler on sale, period. And that's the most affordable motorcycle. Let's talk about what makes them so affordable, how the manufacturer can get it this affordable. And I think with the TVS, it's obvious. There's almost no bodywork there. It's very minimal, and when you take a closer look with things like the meters and the switch gear and the way the indicator, you need to bring it back to the center. It's all very basic, and this bike feels as expensive as you would expect from the price, but it's not the case with the Bajaj.
No, not at all. For just a bit more money, you get a much nicer product. Little things like the switch gear, it's better finished, and you get a past light switch. That's not too common at this price range.
I don't know how Bajaj is pricing it at that price point. I don't know whether they're making any money on it at all. It's phenomenal value for money. But at the same time, when I ride the CT 100, I just feel like it's just another motorcycle. It's a competent motorcycle, but it's just another motorcycle. Whereas the XL 100, I look at this and I smile even more when I ride it. And I've really made an emotional connection with this thing. And I think that if I had unlimited garage space in Mumbai where I live, this would definitely find a space in there.
I think so too. With the XL, it's a lot more of an emotional connect. It's an easy vehicle to ride, and I think if I had to pick, it's a hard choice, but just because of the emotional aspect, I'd pick the XL.
And the good news is that this will continue on into BS6. TVS is working into making this a BS6 compliant vehicle. We don't know how they're going to do it. We don't know how much the price is going to go up. But yes, vehicles like these two will go on into the future in BS6. I've ridden CKD import Chinese motorcycles that cost 7, 8, 10 times these things do, and they're not even half as good. They're quite rubbish in comparison. I'm really impressed with these two, and I'm looking forward to what the future brings.
I think that's still a bit in the future. For now, let's look forward to a ride back home.
That's a good idea.